Seeing that it's 6 o'clock, and we'll get tonight's joint meeting between the Franklin School Board and the Franklin City Council. We'll get it started. Jane, roll call.
Yes, sir. Mrs. Ott,
Here.
Danny Ott.
Here, sorry. Yeah, hey, obviously.
My voice changed.
She's here, this is all here.
I know. Okay, so you're doing it for everyone. Well, that's
So everybody's here.
okay. Mr. Thompson.
He'll be here in a minute.
Okay, Mr. Lamb.
Here.
And Mr. Wertz. Mr. Avon. Mr. Austin.
Here.
Mr. Fukin.
Here.
Mr. Wertz. Mr. Agers.
Here.
Mr. Fox.
Yeah, he and Ms. Ault are here.
Okay, and Mr. Alt.
Okay. Now, Mr. Hukin is going to do prayer for us. Yes.
Let us pray. Heavenly Father, we give thanks for our community and the blessings that you've bestowed upon all of us. We ask for your guidance to all of those who are present this evening, and that this meeting may be informative and meaningful, and that you watch over all of us upon its conclusion. We ask that you watch over and protect those who are charged with looking out for us and defending our freedoms, whether they be right here in our community or in lands far away. And it is in your Son's name that we pray. Amen. Pledge allegiance
to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Okay, so welcome everybody here for this. This is a sort of a special, we do this annually. It's been done now for several years as we try to stay connected in our school system and our city. So I think this is a good opportunity. We update each other about what's going on and update the public as well. We got some people out here. We got a former mayor sitting in the back row. And we've got a young man over here by the name of Braden Plymate, who seems to be that maybe this is the route he wants to take his politics, since I've seen him now at 2 or 3 of these meetings. So good to see you. The way we're going to do this, we're going to jump right into it. From the Franklin City Council side of it, we're going to do that first. And then the school system will do theirs. At the end, we'll have public comments and any council or board comments. So we'll jump right in. And I'm going to call Mayor Barnett to the podium, and we're going to talk about our strategic plan.
First off, I want to thank the school board for wanting to participate in this annual meeting. And I think it shows the unity to our community on how we all want to work together and make things better, not only for the city, but for our kids, who's a big part of our city, and the education system that we have here. So I appreciate you guys being here. I guess where I want to start off is, the question is always asked, what businesses are coming to Franklin? So I want to give kind of an update on that. The Meyer store is going to open May 2nd. Inside the Meyer store, we got a Drake Clips that will be opening soon there or after. Starbucks will be inside the Meyer store. There's a Maurice, which is under construction. That's a clothing store that's over by the Kroger's. PetSmart, pet supply store, that's under construction. Ross Dress for Less, a department store. Marshall's, the department store. Shoe Show, was a shoe store. Ultra Beauty, the cosmetic store. All of those is over by a Kroger's. If you see that building that's there, that's under construction. Big Woods at Hillview Country Club. It's a brewery and restaurant. That should be opening up within any time. So I'm saying the next, I don't want to speculate. We just know that they're coming, and that'd be a good addition. Metro PCS, that's a cell phone company. That's going to be at 2239 North Morton Street. Sports Clips, another hair salon. That's at 952 North Morton Street. Tommy-O Japanese Restaurant, that's at 1874 North Plaza. That's where the old Quiznos was located. Buffalo Wild Wings, that site is ready for construction, building permit pending, and that's in front of the Meyer store. Freddy's Frozen Custard and Steak Burgers, that's also site plan approved, ready for construction, building permit pending, that's also in front of the Meyer store. First Financial Bank, relocation to 31 Brannigan Road. The site plan is approved and it's ready for construction, building permit pending. 1100 North Morton Street, it's a 4-tenant commercial building. Users are unknown at this time, but the site plan is approved, it's ready for construction, building permits are pending. Urban Air, it's an indoor trampoline park. That's at the old Marsh store. It's under construction, the building permit was issued 4/19/2017, so we just had that last month, this month, a few days ago. They're there right now working on the renovations. That'll be a big asset for the city and kind of a draw card, a destination, I believe. Indiana Masonic Home, Compass Park Skilled Nursing and Rehab Center, site development plan in progress. It says in May 13, it will be, May 13th will be breaking ground. That would be nice if we can get that going. Homeview Health and Rehab Center, it's BZA approved, site development plan in progress. Barnes Hall, Franklin College, that's another site development plan in progress. Superior Systems and Supply Incorporated, it's on Amy Lane. The Garment Factory, that banquet hall, it's just down the street on Wayne Street. That is scheduled to open late November, early December. Another thing we're working on is a shell building. Again, we had a great success with the last one, hoping to break ground on that one June the 1st. And we have some incentive packages that's been offered to a couple businesses. One of them is a business that's here in Franklin that wants to expand at a different site, build a new building. So we're pretty excited about these two businesses that want to expand. One of them is an out-of-town business. And then out on the east side, hotel development was approved by the Redevelopment Commission just last week, and that is west of Paris Drive, which would be west of the McDonald's. And then there's ongoing discussions with developers with the properties on the east side of Paris Drive, which would be the east side of McDonald's. So as you can tell, we have a lot of interest here, and I think that interest not only grows from the amount of money that's being put back into our infrastructure, but I think it's what it shows about our community and things like this where people want to be here in Franklin. So again, thank you guys for being here. And if you don't mind, Mr. President, I'll go ahead and get into the construction updates, the different phases of construction and the trail project that kind of goes in the same category. And at this time, I'd like to introduce City Engineer Mark Richards to give us an update on that. Thank you, Mark.
Thank you, Mayor. As the Mayor said, there's not much going on around here, so we'll follow in that vein and tell you about the projects that are not causing any problems around town. Want to go to the first slide, Tara? Okay, first project that I'll talk about is Jefferson Street reconstruction. That project is from US 31 all the way out to I-65 on King Street. We're in phase 3 at this time, and that project is on schedule. The contractor is expected to be doing paving work this week to open up Jefferson Street down to Walnut. So it will be open to the intersection of Walnut on or about Monday of next week. The remaining part of that phase will be completed by the end of June this year. So there's going to continue to be a short closure, but when that's done, it'll seem like it never happened. Next slide. Okay, next phase is phases 4 and 5 of Jefferson Street. That will pick up where work was left off at East Court Street and continue to Home Avenue. That's set to be completed by the end of September of this year. And then phase 5 will extend onto the rail line, and that will be complete by the end of the year. Now, surface work is supposed to be done this year from 31 to the rail line. That's all weather dependent. If that doesn't occur, that may be done at the start of the construction season next year. But we want to make sure that we get a good product and the surface layer is done all at one time so that you don't have the construction joints that will cause ride issues. Next slide, please. King Street reconstruction. That project is set to be substantially complete by May 22nd. You can see a couple of photos here of the lights on the gateway towers. We haven't turned those on permanently yet. That's likely to happen this week. We had a few issues to resolve on the operation of those, but we're getting those bugs worked out, and we're about set to open those or turn those on. There was also an issue with the paving work that was done on the current section of King Street. The contractor was out last week. They milled some of that off. They've done part of the overlay. They'll finish that overlay work this week, so that should be opened up. All paving work should be complete on that phase by the end of this week. Wayne Street reconstruction, that project is near completion. We'll be doing the surface paving on that at the end of June. We're holding off until some gas service line installation is completed. We're also doing a kind of a rework on the curb bump out at Home Avenue, and also we're removing the driveway cut at the east side of the garment factory. Next slide. We're doing an alley project this year. That was bid out last fall. Contractors on site now. The work is expected to be complete by mid-June. Paving will actually begin late next week. They're in the process right now of doing some milling work and putting stone in to rebuild these alleys. There are 22 alley segments scheduled for reconstruction and 3 that are going to be built and overlaid. And those are shown on the screen. Next slide. 2017 paving work. We have about $1.2 million that we expect to be able to spend on paving this year. We're in the process of preparing bid specs. We've done the PASER ratings on the streets, so we have an idea of what we're going to do. Now we're just trying to finalize that list and make sure that we have the proper amount of funding available. We also intend to do some crack sealing and HMA sealing on that project as well. Next slide. We have 4 roundabout projects along the truck route. The first is at Upper Shelbyville and Eastview Drive. We also have, the second one is at Hurricane Road and Eastview/Arden Road. Third is at Arden Road and Graham Road. And the final one is at the top of the screen. You can't see it here, but it's at Commerce Parkway and Graham Road. Those projects are, the 2 of those are set to be constructed in the next year or so. We're looking at doing actually location number 2 as a local project late this year. The first project at Upper Shelbyville will most likely be constructed next year. That will be done with federal funds, and we are set for letting in April of 2018. Next slide. That first roundabout, this is a conceptual layout for that. It's got kind of an interesting design problem. We've got a couple of bridges for Hurricane Creek, one on Eastview Drive, one on Upper Shelbyville. So in order to minimize the impacts to those bridges and incur a lot of cost, we have to shift that roundabout back to the southeast from the current intersection location. We also have some sight distance issues with the upper leg of Eastview Drive, which causes some, I guess, some right-of-way acquisition issues that we have to, where we have to obtain considerable amount of right-of-way from the school corporation. In order to minimize the cost on that, that's unavoidable at this time, but we'll continue to look at that and see how we can minimize the impacts of the school as well. Next slide. This is the second roundabout that may be built this fall at Hurricane Road, and Eastview Drive and Arden Road. Again, that would be about a $1.65 million project that would be funded 100% locally. We also have to acquire right-of-way for this one from all four quadrants. Next slide. Okay, project that I'm sure the school corporation is interested in is the pedestrian trail that extends along the truck route, along Eastview Drive, along Arden Road and Commerce Parkway up to US 31. That project has been started. Actual field construction has not begun yet, but we expect that to begin in mid-May. Morphe Construction is doing that work, and we expect the project to be complete by the end of May of 2018. It appears there's a gap between Arden Drive and near the intersection with Shelbyville Road, or Upper Shelbyville Road, but there's actually a trail in that location already, or sidewalk, so we're not going to, we're going to connect with that rather than replace it. Next slide, please. And the last project I'd like to talk about is US 31 and Mallory Parkway. This is pedestrian enhancements at the middle school. The project is scheduled for letting next January. Project cost is about $750,000. And in addition to the crossing at US 31 with a pedestrian refuge at the center median, there are some changes that will be made to the frontage road in front of the middle school. Next slide. That should be questions. We'd be happy to answer any questions you might have.
Okay,
Thank you.
well then. At this time, the mayor's going to come back to the podium here, and then I'm also going to ask for Sam Vanderveen to come up to the podium as well. And I know he has his group of people here, so he'll probably do an introduction of those as well. And this is the presentation of our new city flag.
And as you can tell with Mark, he doesn't have much to do, by the way, so we're glad to have Mark on board. I guess I want to start off with the mayor's student council. This has been, when Mayor McGinnis left office or took his other position as commissioner, one thing he'd asked me, he said, you know, you're probably going to do things a little bit different I would or whatever. He said, but one thing I would ask that you keep this group intact and keep this going. And Joe, I will tell you, this has been the most enjoyable part of being the mayor is being able to be with these guys. So thank you for that. This was passed at the city council level. There was a favorable recommendation sent to the Board of Works on the flag, and then it went to the Board of Works, which Bob Swineheimer and Lisa Jones, who's on the Board of Works, are here tonight. Bob said, you know, I think you need to tell a little bit of history of their other flag lists. So real quick, I'm going to tell you how our past flag got here. And this comes from minutes out of the Common Council meeting, Monday, April 23rd, 1979. It was held at the Old City Court room. That's over Old City Council, Old City Court. Joe Allen was the president of the council. Joe McCracken was on the council. Dale Templin, Herman Hoagland, John Montgomery, Deborah Swineheimer, and Dorothy Rainey. That was the council members. The mayor was Ed Vandenberg. And then Norm Blankenship, who became mayor later, Norm Blankenship presented the design of the city flag to the council and introduce Alice Flanagan, the designer, who Alice Flanagan, I had her husband as a teacher in school, so that was many years ago. The JC organization will take orders for the city flag, which will be manufactured in Indianapolis. The price will be $40 each. The design of the flag is in blue and white, incorporating a profile of Benjamin Franklin, the date of the founding of the city of Franklin, 1823, and five stars to represent the Wonder Five team of the late 20s. Motion was made by Councilmember Montgomery, seconded by Councilmember Hoagland, that the city adopt the format of the flag. Vote to adopt the flag was unanimous. The city attorney was requested to prepare a resolution for presentation on May 7, 1979. Okay, and then in the newspaper, they got it, ran with it a little bit, and there was a picture, and it says, "Soon Franklin will have its own version of Old Glory flying the city skies, thanks to the artistic talents of Alice Flanagan, 1203 East Jefferson Street, Senator Mrs. Flanagan." Entry was chosen from about 40 others of the winning design. It was a citywide project. 40 people submitted designs. Believed to be the first flag. The blue and white design includes the silhouette of Ben Franklin, finished stars of Wonder Five. We're going to do the same thing here, which marks founding of the city. The flag is also marked with Franklin, Indiana. The project was coordinated by Norm Blankenship, and on behalf of the Franklin JCs, Mrs. Flanagan was presented a copy from Mayor Ed Vandiver, and also it was picked, the judges who held the selection, Dale Templin, Jim DeMoss, Dan Mitchell, Sylvester Crowe, Rick Littleton, who works for the city today, and for her efforts, she received $50 in U.S. savings bonds. So you guys didn't get the $50 in savings. But you've done an excellent job, and if possible, I would like to ask Dr. Clendenning and the school board if they can display the flag in the school somewhere with the name and the plaque of these students that took this undertaking on. So anyway, you guys, you can buy the flags from Kelly Promotions. They're the ones that got us this one here, and I think they're $200 now, so a little bit high, but that's what it is for the two sides. So anyway, thank you guys, you've done a great job. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
All right, I just want to thank you, the city council, the school board, and my mom and dad for being here. So thank you. Before I get started really quickly, my name is Sam Vanderveen. I'm a senior at the high school. I'm the president of the Mayor's Youth Leadership Council here for the city, and I intern for Mayor Barnett each and every day with him. So quickly, I'm just going to ask the members to go down and introduce themselves over there, and then if they hold an executive officer position, they can do that as well. So.
My name is Emma Bevins, and I'm a junior.
I'm Jonathan Ott, I'm a sophomore on the programs chair.
I'm Elena Vanderveen, I'm a senior, and I'm the treasurer of the Franklin Mayor's Youth Leadership Council. I'm Megan Tennell, and I'm a freshman.
I'm Clay Black, and I'm the secretary of the council.
Thanks, guys. So today, I'm obviously here to talk a little bit about the council itself and the project. The Franklin Mayor's Youth Leadership Council, like Mayor Barnett said, and thank you to Mr. McGinnis, was formed in 2016, so this past summer, by Mr. McGinnis. And it was just basically a great initiative to develop the relationship between the school corporation and the city itself. And we've been fortunate enough to have leadership from Mayor Barnett and Mr. McGinnis and Julie and Tara along the way to help us out throughout this entire year. And I'm very confident next year's council that these guys take on that will do great things. Hopefully next year we can continue what we've been doing this year. Not really sure the path that they're going to take. It's up to the underclassmen, upperclassmen. But I just am looking forward to what they are able to accomplish. Also, Specifically for the Mayor's Youth Council, we've been asked that next year we'll be expanding to 20 members instead of 13. We do like to see some underclass representation, so Megan will have more friends in her grade with her. She's the only freshman right now on the council. And then, of course, we'll have some incoming freshmen next year on the council, so we're very excited about that as well.
So this project idea came up in mid-December with former Mayor Joe McGinnis. Our council discussed how the City of Lafayette's Youth Council recently adopted their city's flag. We decided unanimously that this was going to be our focus. Designing our flag has been an incredible opportunity, and we are very excited with the results and hope that the citizens of our community like it too. We will always remember and cherish the historical impact of the former flag design submitted by Mrs. Alice Flanagan in 1978. In creating our new flag design, we referenced Mrs. Flanagan's design and adapted it to what is occurring and developing in the city right now. We believe that the new city flag design successfully embodies the entirety of Franklin through color representation and symbolism. As you can see in our design, there are 6 stars. Each star represents a specific value and quality in our city, so our flag can represent all aspects of Franklin, Indiana.
Okay, so the first star represents tradition. As a city, we built a tradition of excellence for the past 200 years. We considered establishments such as the Art Craft and Franklin College and even the courthouse as symbols of Franklin and thought they should have a place on our flag. So that's represented through the first star. The second star represents community. We think community is the most important characteristic that Franklin has to offer. Everyone in the community really can have a voice. Through these city council meetings, I mean, even us just being in high school, we feel like we have a voice, which is an opportunity that we love having. So we just really embrace our Franklin community and believe it's a great trait that Franklin offers. The third star stands for opportunity. There's an opportunity for everyone in Franklin, opportunity for a world-class education, opportunity for success, for a tight-knit, supportive community, an opportunity for happiness. We believe whether it's through economics or just through our neighbors, we have the opportunity to grow as people and as a community.
The fourth star, I think, represents education. I might be a little biased, but I think that we have one of the best education systems, at least in the state. And going around to other high schools, I think that we have the best high school in the state. Education is very important here as symbolized through the school system. The fifth star is innovation. And I think in Franklin that we have a lot of room for growth and development, as we can tell by our downtown construction project. We have a lot of unique stores, and yeah. All right, the sixth star, the final star, represents commerce. And commerce is very important to Franklin. We have, like Emma said, a close-knit community and a strong bond between the small businesses and the larger businesses. So the small businesses we have downtown and larger ones like KYB and Kroger.
Does anyone have any questions? I guess you guys can ask away. Council, city council, school group.
Okay, I thank you, all of you, for all your great work. This is the third time that these kids have, young adults, not kids, these young adults have come. The first time trying to sell us on it, and second time through the approval process, and now to do this. So you guys are doing great things, and keep it up. Thank you. So at this point, we will now shift our focus to the school board. Dr. Day.
Thank you, Mr. Fox. At our meetings, we begin with recognitions and celebrations that are meaningful to our corporation and to our guiding principles. And tonight, we felt like it would be most appropriate to honor Commissioner McGinnis for his time as the mayor. When Joe came in, the mayor, the partnership was definitely started in the previous years as the college, the hospital, and the city schools met together. But Joe really solidified it with his vision of what Franklin could be and should be, with strong entities coming together to form one. And so on behalf of the school board and administration and students, we want to thank Joe for his vision, thank Joe for his time and leadership in our city, and we'll look forward to many bike rides throughout Indiana as commissioner. So with that, Mr. Mayor McGinnis, Commissioner McGinnis, and Fred McGinnis would come up. We just want to say thank you.
Once a politician, always a politician. Give me a microphone, I'll talk. Well, this podium I haven't been in front of for about 3 or 4 months. I really appreciate the opportunity to be here. This was one of those conversations I had with Dr. Clendenning 5 years ago or so. And he was right. My predecessors did a nice job of trying to get that, cultivate that relationship with the school corporation. But I felt that it was one of the most important duties that I could do as the mayor to make sure that we took it to another level. As you just saw from Mayor's Youth Leadership Council, they are our future. And so whether they're in kindergarten or 12th grade, it doesn't matter. They're the future of our community. And so we had to make sure we solidify that relationship. So I think the first step in all that was the conversation about, what about doing something crazy? Let's pull the school board and the city council together. Let's have a joint session meeting. It could be a work session. You don't have to put any items on the agenda for action, but we could just kind of sit together and have this conversation. And I think it's the fruits of that hard work we put into getting it all together has paid off. I saw Sergeant Oliver, we have a full-time school resource officer program that really came about from those joint session meetings. And I think going forward, I think what you all have in place here, the structure is there. There's a lot of awesome things going on in our community. This is my community today, it'll be my community tomorrow. I am biased. Like Mr. Ott said, this is the best darn school corporation in the state. I have a 4th grader and a 7th grader in it, so I feel that they're getting the best education they possibly can. So thank you for all your hard work. I will continue to work hard just for all 92 counties, not just one city. Road funding is coming your way. I worked a little bit longer in the last few weeks on that, but we have a lot of really awesome things coming to our community, a lot of great things coming to our state. I look forward to watching our city continue to grow responsibly, and looking forward to the education opportunities that my kids will have forward to them over the next few years. So thank you. This is an awesome honor. I really appreciate it.
Speaking of partnerships, a few years ago, we were provided with an opportunity to RDC with Chromebooks for our high school. And one of the things that came out of that journey was another partnership that's global, that's with Google. So I'm going to bring Mr. Sprout, Director of Technology for Benton School, up, talk a little bit about our journey with Google and highlight this year's summit.
As you might expect, it was a great time. Matt Sprout, Director of Technology for Franklin Community Schools. I've been there a number of years. And throughout this time, I have to repeat what Joe said and what the students said. Franklin Community Schools is an awesome place. I moved my family here after I decided. It only took me 5 years of working here to say, you know what, I should move my kids here. And it continues to be an amazing opportunity. And part of that is a collaboration that we've had. And we had the ability to host the EdTech Team Summit. We had 575 people there this year, so that is a great number that we hope to continue to grow. There's basically 3 reasons we do this. Primarily professional development. We want to provide training for our teachers. When you look at the school district, we say it's great. Over half of our teachers gave up their weekends so they could learn how to implement technology for our students. That's a lot to expect. Work 5 days, spend a very long weekend learning, and then to go back and teach 5 days more. We've all had those working weekends, but for every other teacher to make that sacrifice for their family and to come and learn is a great opportunity. And we want to do that for professional development. Secondly, we do it to recruit and retain. The only competing conference we had this year, unlike New York, was Canada. So you could go to Franklin, Indiana at the EdTech Team Summit, or you could go to Canada. It is an international summit, so that's exciting. But we do it to recruit and retain. We we want to provide the opportunity for our teachers to attend, but also to present. We had a couple teachers present this that year, and it's an opportunity that few schools get, and we want to make the most of that opportunity. The second one is collaboration. If you didn't see the Google markers, we had them out. It's a collaboration with the city. We had 6-foot Google map markers around town, and we encouraged everybody to come into town. This year's theme, first year's theme was racing. So we had a race car in the foyer of the high school. The second year was transportation. We had an airplane in the foyer. This year was Back to the Future, and as you might expect, we had a DeLorean in the foyer. And so it's just a great opportunity, but it also builds that excitement about coming and visiting Franklin. We provided promotions. We printed out local business cards, 88 miles per hour. You may remember that's how fast they had to get going. The businesses collaborated with us, and they provided discounts. So we hid these around the school, and attendees could go around and they got a $5 discount at a local establishment. And so they took selfies, they tweeted them out, and we just continued to collaborate, and we look forward to that opportunity in the future. The EdTech team has already sent another contract, desiring. So I look forward to negotiating with them further. Thank you.
And with the new hotel, I think it'll even drive more commerce as we continue this partnership. And so we thank Matt. Matt spends a lot of time behind the scenes making sure this thing is pulled off. And I will tell you, when I talk to the EdTech leadership, they're always very complimentary, but they also steal our ideas and give them to other schools and other areas. So you know that they're doing some things right. So I want to thank Matt publicly for all of that. Another partnership that's very strong in our school district is with Johnson Memorial Hospital. This year, they purchased our nursing services, and so all of our school nurses are actually employees of JMH. And with that money, we then set aside to do something we believe is student-centered and innovative for our teachers, and it's called 10X grants. We have 10X grants for our teachers. We also have 10X grants for our support staff. This is the first year, and coming in the school year 17-18, we're going to have 10X grants for students to do some things that are kind of out of the box and innovative. So we're excited about that. So with that, we would like to bring two of the opportunities that were part of the 10X grant for this past year. First, we'll have Derek Ramey, instructional coach for Franklin Community Schools at the secondary level, come up and talk about experience going to Harvard leadership, and then we'll have Julie Taylor coming up talking about going to Costa Rica and hugging some turtles.
Thank you, Dr. Monet. I'd like to thank the school board and the city council for inviting Ms. Tennell and I to come speak on behalf of the 50 other educators who have been awarded 10X grants. Dr. Clendenning, Ms. Brownelli, Mr. Sprout, and I have spent a lot of time the last few weeks talking about collaboration, whether it's collaboration within our district, collaboration with members of the city, and collaboration with JMH here, for example. But it was this collaboration that allowed me to go to Cambridge in beautiful November. And if you've never been to Massachusetts in November, it's an experience. So, but in this opportunity, I was able to spend a week learning and growing and talking with some of the most exciting future school leaders across the nation. And so if you can go to the next slide, please. The unique thing about Harvard University is you really do learn from people with expertise and experience. Dr. Thomas Hare, for example, was the director of special education, US DOE, and responsible for implementing and developing the IDEA Act. Dr. Urban Scott was deputy director for education for the Bill and Melinda Gates Foundation. Those were just two of many very experienced and very knowledgeable people. If you go to the next slide, please. Another thing unique to Harvard is that you will come away with just an amazing amount of knowledge. But one of the things they task you with is what two things can you bring back to your district to help make change? And two of the things that I brought back were how can we provide some learning-centered leadership and making decisions on data wisely. And so those are my two things, and I hope I can kind of express how I did those two things through multiple sessions. The first session was some tools for adaptive leadership. And go ahead, one more, please. As we look at promoting 21st century skills and giving students opportunities to become successful in the 21st century, we look at the difference between what Dr. Bob Keegan talks about as technical and adaptive changes. Years ago, when we got kids ready to school, we looked at how can we make them able to work in factories? How can we make them successful in other jobs that weren't available yet, or that aren't available now? And those were uniformity, punctuality, fact-driven decisions. But now as we present and provide educational opportunities for students, we're looking for these adaptive changes. Instead of thinking outside the box, we want kids who can recreate and build new boxes. And we do that by teaching them empathy, collaboration, creative problem solving, creative problem finding, and collaborative product building. So those are two things that we need to think about, and I think through the leadership we have in Franklin Schools, we're doing that. How do we build a positive school culture? We've talked a lot about that, but we'll be talking a lot more about that in the perils of change. And I'll tell you, our district needs less change than a lot of districts, but we can still get better. And if we want teachers to change, we want teachers to improve, one of the things that came out of the meeting is that we need to empower them to inspire students. And if we want, go ahead one more please, and if we want to improve students, if we want students to change, we need to empower them to act. We need to give them the opportunity, like the 10X grant for students, that they can act on their passions and their talents. One more please. And we're doing that in a lot of ways, but I presented a couple ideas of how we can continue to do that, how we can continue to build a robust improvement process for students with students in mind. One more, please. Dr. Urban Scott, who I spoke about before, talked about growth and impact. How do we continue to grow? How do we grow our school from good to great? And we talked a lot about that. And he talks about if we want to change our school from the traditional model of the teacher standing up front, where only 2 out of 4 kids are participatory, and we have a lot of kids not, we need to make some improvements. One head, please. And the way that we improve is individualized. And we'll talk a lot about in the next few weeks about personalized professional development. If you as an educator want to get better, it's not for me to say how you need to get better. You need to figure out how can I get better, what do I want to do, and it's individualized. And we do that by redefining, reevaluating, and reinventing our professional development process. We're doing that in Franklin Schools. And last year we created a peer observation process where our teachers go out and learn from other teachers. We keep it in-house. School board members, that's very cost effective, but I will tell you, the other advantage of it is we take ownership and responsibility for our learning as teachers because we're learning from friends, we're learning from colleagues, and if we don't get it, we can go back to those colleagues. The Literacy Road to Success, this is a little bit of good data. One of the things, one more please, this is Dr. Paula Luchelli. She talks about nationwide, 4th grade students and 8th grade students are only about 30 to 40% literate, proficiency literacy. Go ahead, one more. In Franklin, we're doing a nice job. That doesn't mean that we can't continue to improve literature within our students. We can't improve reading ability within our students, but we're doing better than the national average. Universal Design for Learning. This is Dr. Thomas Hare. He was the Director of Special Education. He talks about inclusive classrooms. He said to us, do we have inclusive classrooms or are we inclusive? Inclusion means students are spending 80% or more of the time in a general ed population. Students with special needs are spending 80% or more of the time. And when we do that, those students are twice as likely to graduate from high school successful in 4 years. Leading educators in using data wisely. If you ever had the opportunity to look at education data, probably like many other sectors, it's an absolute rabbit hole. You can get data, you can say whatever you want, and teachers feel that. We have NWA, we have Naviance, we have the I-STEP test. That data can lead us a lot of places, or it can lead us nowhere at all. Data-wise is one thing that I would like to start bringing back to our PLCs. And basically, it's a model to look at and understand and ask questions about the data that we already have. And then finally, strategic learning-centered leadership. This is the thing we talked about at the top. Dr. Liz City, who's an education professor at Harvard, worked a lot with Simon Sinek. Simon Sinek was an educator and professor at Columbia, and he talks a lot about how great businesses start from why. They talk about their vision. He also says people don't buy what we make, they buy why we make it. And that's true in education. If we want teachers and we want students to buy in, they don't care what we do. They want to know why we do it. What's our vision? At Franklin, our vision, our why is empower greatness. How do we do it with our guiding principles of individual student growth, trust, communication, continuous systemic improvement, and through that, we build a student-centered and innovative environment. And the last slide, I think to sum it up, at Harvard and here through our leadership, our job is to empower greatness in all learners, always. Thank you.
Chris and I traveled, love you, know Chris. We traveled to Costa Rica in September with my 10X grant. When I applied for the 10X grant, my first thought was that I wanted to engage kids in field research. A lot of students, when they think about biology, they think they either have to go to work in a lab or they have to be a teacher. They don't realize that there are things that you can do outside that are pretty cool. So I started looking at different places I could go. I found the Sea Turtle Conservancy. They agreed to take me on for a couple weeks, and then we went forward from there. Go ahead. That's me at the field station at the sign. STC, it's funny, I didn't realize what I was getting into when I found them. I was just searching for places, and it turns out they're pretty much the world leader in sea turtle research. So I felt privileged once I realized what I got into, that I was able to connect with them, and I've actually made some long-term friendships with biologists in Costa Rica, so that's kind of neat. I have some Facebook friends that are from far away. Go ahead. So in Tortuguero, it's the largest nesting site in the world for green sea turtles. And we were there at the peak of the season. There were 600 turtles in one night, which is pretty amazing to see. Their main objectives there, they monitor the status of the nesting population, they determine threats, evaluate hatching success, they deter illegal activities on the beach, there are poachers, and then they educate the public about marine turtle conservation. Go ahead. So this is turtle school. I had to read a book about this thick about sea turtles before I went, and then we had to go through 2 days of training to learn how to gather data with the turtles. Go ahead. So when you work with turtles, you're either working the turtle or you're working the turtle's nest, or sometimes you're doing both. Go ahead. It's a pretty involved process. So one of the questions that comes up with the students is why do they tag the turtles? What are they trying to do? They monitor where they go, how old they are. They can kind of get some ideas of age. There's one female that's been laying her eggs on the beach of Tortuguero since 1980. So it enables researchers to keep tabs on the population. STC, pretty much any research article you read about sea turtles, they have their hands in it somehow. Either they've authored it or they're listed as a reference. So they've learned a lot about sea turtles that they didn't know previously. Go ahead. And then you can also mark the nest. This enables them to determine a survival rate. So they'll count how many eggs are actually laid. They'll drop a tag in the nest, come back, and then determine how many actually made it out. So they can monitor survival of the babies that way. So this is us excavating a nest. So you go through and you dig up and you count how many empty shells there are, how many dead babies. You can get a survival rate. So natural circumstances, a sea turtle has a 1 in 100 chance of surviving to be an adult. Because of people, they have a 1 in, they say 1,000 to up to 1 in 10,000 chance of surviving to adulthood. Go ahead. And then I listed several threats. We don't have to go through everything. Plastic is huge. I'm sure you've seen the pictures of the sea turtles with plastic in their bellies and all that. So that's a big thing. Lights on the beach, development. Go ahead. Nest temperature. My AP students did a lot of research on climate change and how it affects the different phases of the life cycle. Go ahead. That's just a quote that we love. We actually put that on the back of the Eco Warriors t-shirts. So Dr. Carr lives on in Franklin High School. He is the founder of the STC, so it's kind of neat. Okay, so why I decided Tortuguero. I wanted to expose kids to real field research. I wanted them to see how that works. I wanted them to meet and learn about biologists that are doing this work. I wanted to expose them to different career options and make conservation and environmental issues real to them. Go ahead. Okay, so I want to tell you a little bit about how we use my trip in the classroom, because that's like the best part to me. My AP students actually read published research from the STC. So this is real, genuine research articles that are part of marine biology journals. If you've ever read original research, it's not easy to do. I had to teach them how to read it, then we had to go through and read it, look at the graphs and all this. So they actually worked with some genuine research. Then they had to, like I said, they did their research projects on climate change. Go ahead. So that's pictures of them working. Mrs. McCain helped them while I was gone, so she would send me pictures. I would tweet pictures from Costa Rica, and she would send me these. Biology 1 students focused more on the scientific method instead of a specific aspect. They followed. I kept the blog for them, and I would post things every day. We had a Google Hangout session, thanks to Mr. Sprout. It was so funny. I'm in the rainforest, and I'm like, I see you. This is Julie Temple, I see you. It was amazing. So then we did some Google Hangouts with the kids and the biologists there in Torrey Bureau. So go ahead, you can scroll up. There we are. Don't, just ignore how sweaty I am. It was gross. Okay, go ahead. And the impact continues. When I told the kids the survival rate for a baby sea turtle because of humans, I had one student raise her hand and she said, Mrs. Tell, that is just not okay. And I said, you're right, it's not. And so, we had some things going on politically at the time with the election, and then they're thinking all these baby sea turtles are dying because of them. So it turned into some pretty passionate kiddos about conservation. And so I actually had 2 students that made a career choice because of this, which I thought was kind of cool. I have 2 kids that are now going to college to become conservation biologists, which that warms my heart. But we also developed a club, so if you scroll ahead, the next one, our little eco warriors. And they are fired up about conservation and recycling. They've already purchased, I think we spent $300 on new recycling bins, we put new labels on everything. Their next focus is the cafeteria, so they're ready to put that on next. And then there's my blog. Anybody wants to check out Costa Rica pictures? And then there's more pictures, but I think I'm out of time. I can talk about Costa Rica forever.
Are there any questions to Derek or to Julie from anyone before we go on? Just outstanding what's happening in our school system. Last board meeting, we heard from 2 teachers. Ann Wilson was our teacher of the year last year. She went to Normandy Beach and followed her father's footsteps. And I don't think there was a dry eye in the house after she finished. And then the next presentation was from 2 teachers at Northwood Elementary. And they talked about the change process, both for themselves as teachers, but they followed the monarch butterfly. They went to Kansas and they went to Mexico to see all the monarch butterflies. And they brought it back, and we now have a monarch habitat at Northwood Elementary because of that. Just some things that our kids are actually getting to see firsthand. So partnerships and action definitely make some significant difference. Last week I had a chance to speak to my board, Southside Indianapolis, about why Franklin schools. And so I'm not going to give the entire presentation, but I will tell you that when we put it together, I have worked with Robin Betts, our communication specialist, to highlight why would you come here. I flipped back to when I arrived in 2009 when I talked to people about our school district, and the things that I was told was, man, you have great buildings. And we did have, but I didn't have a lot of people talking about the great things inside the classroom. And I also got to hear about, man, I don't know, do you guys trust each other down in Franklin, the schools and everybody? And today, fast forward to 2017, I can tell you that I get to hear about the great teachers when I talk about what's our school, our specialists, and I get to talk about you guys are doing some great, amazing things that you guys do, and trust is growing strong. So I'm going to just walk through this. So go to the next slide, please. So we phrase it in terms of our guiding principles, individual student growth. So if you come to school here, when I had CEOs come early on in Joe's tenure, I know we talked to a couple of people, they say, now, how far is Carmel and how far is Center Grove? Because they felt like if they moved to this area, they had to have their kids go there to get a great education. Well, I can tell you today, both as the superintendent but also as a parent, there's nobody beating Franklin schools and what's happening to to our kids. We talked about what's it mean to be exposed to a wide variety. You know, our elementary kids are going to college campuses ahead of most kids in the state. So every kid will experience that. At CBIS, what does that mean? Well, we shifted from college to talk about career. So this year at CBIS, the career fair dealt with all skilled opportunities tied to C9. So we had C9 people come in, or jobs associated with manufacturing and advanced manufacturing, talk about jobs. And then at the high school, obviously, they can have career paths that they're choosing. Recruit and Retain, you heard about 10X. Here are a few of our successes. Really want to highlight the alpacas, because I'm not sure how many schools have 2 alpacas hanging out with them every day. But this was actually part of our ag program. When we got a new ag teacher, we said, what can we do to both bring empathy to our students, but also understand what it's like to take care of another being. And then some other experiences that we've had across our time. Our engineering class, Mr. Ott is here. He's part of the engineering classes here too. We chose a non-traditional path in engineering. We did not go with Project Lead the Way. If you would talk to most of the state of Indiana, I'm sure Representative Young probably got to hear about that during his time in the General Assembly. We chose to hire a non-traditional teacher who's an engineer to come in and teach our students. And I will tell you, those kids are getting some amazing things. Mr. Ott was just recently published in a magazine about his seed box they're creating. They're having a GPS system, and it's going to place the seed in the ground, and then the GPS actually going to go on to somebody else. I think it's going, well, where's it headed next? Do you remember?
Australia.
Australia. So it started off here, so his group of 4 created that. Another group worked in coding with Raspberry and some other things. But Mr. Rose is doing some amazing things that I believe is probably advancing our kids further than Project Lead the Way would have in that program. Our graduation rate, 94.6. I know that the cohorts out again is just as strong for this next year. And our dual credit AP scores continue to stand up with everybody. Next slide, please. Well, how about involvement? Anybody was a Rotary a few weeks ago? We had 2 of our teachers that are Woodrow Wilson Fellows talk about why people choose schools. And they used a model for communities that talk about endowments. And one of them was extracurricular and fine arts. That's one of the reasons why people choose a community to come to. So here you can see what happens in ours. We had a basketball game against Plainfield, and it was an awesome night because not only did we beat Plainfield that night and won the conference, but at halftime of the game, we highlighted all of the champions in our school district in athletics. The Plainfield people didn't appreciate it very much because my friend's a superintendent, so I got to hear about that, but that was okay. But it was pretty amazing. All the different champions in extracurricular that we have. And then on the fine arts side, if you go scroll down one more time, I'll just highlight one. Go back. There you go. We did have TJ Schulich do a side-by-side with the ISO just a couple weeks ago, where he was a featured artist. So just an outstanding accomplishment for fine arts in our school district. And our choir is continuing to do some amazing things. Now you go next slide. Thanks, Darren. So what about partnerships, or to also answer, if you come here, where can you go? Well, these are just a few. I said, Robin, I want you to go pick out universities that people that don't know us will know their university. So you can see where our kids go if they come here. And you know what? I think those universities speak for themselves, and there are many others. You know, so I'm quite proud now when CEOs come in and say, well, where can my student go to school? I can go Wake Forest, Duke, you know, Hofstra, obviously Notre Dame. Although in a couple of weeks I won't sit anymore and no more checks. That's good.
Why is the font bigger for Notre Dame?
Robin?
He's my boss.
You might explain that to the rest.
Yeah, actually the Notre Dame student, actually we have 2. We have a senior, Ethan, my son, is Notre Dame. And actually, we have the Lilly Scholar for this coming year, 2017. Katie Burke is heading to Notre Dame on the Lilly Scholarship. So we're quite proud of that. So, and then obviously, we have Purdue and IU on the games there, but they do support. And it's a great place to come to our school and get a great education to move on to other things. Next slide, please. How about our teachers? Well, because really, education doesn't happen without great teachers. You know, it's awesome to be a superintendent of our school district, or the CFO, or director of technology, or the curriculum instruction director, or director of operations. But it's really the teachers that are doing great things and making all those things happen. And here are our teachers. Teacher of the Year, Woodward Wilson Fellows. We had the top 5 guidance counselor. Katie Smith went to Japan on a fellowship to explore schools. So when we talk about teachers, I guarantee you the teachers in Carmel and other places, our teachers will go toe-to-toe and exceed them in engagement and providing opportunities. And I'm just so very proud to call colleagues and friends of what they're doing. Next slide, please. And these are also the same things I told the realtors. I was a little more passionate there since they didn't want to know. How about our high ability program? I'll tell you what, Mark, Dr. Hayden has done a great job of creating opportunities. We talked about a vision 9 years ago, making sure that we provide opportunities for all kids in individual student growth. The high ability program is very important to make sure that we're pushing kids to their full potential. We are recognized and promising practice by the Indiana Department of Education for our high ability work. So that was pretty significant. Next slide, please. The Franklin Academy slide. This slide is pretty cool. You can't really see the sign, but it says, "My mommy and my daddy graduated." So that right there speaks, I think, volumes to the Franklin Academy, because without that program, mommy and daddy would not have a high school diploma. And that is pretty awesome if you look at what our school is trying to provide. So you could be, 18 to 99 and come back to high school and get your diploma with us. That's pretty significant. And then last year we started our own Cub Academy for a preschool program. We are in 3 of the schools, and Katie Smith is trying desperately hard to get a 4th school going. But we're doing some great things, and then we also have after-school care and before-school care that I think is second to none. Collaboration, these are just some examples of collaborative experiences. This past year, Rotary adopted Webb Elementary students that go once a month to have lunch with a business person. And twice they've had to be involved in presentations. Greg Moore, who's kind of the sponsor of the program, had the students speak. When we did the history of Franklin and Rotary, they each had a card. That was pretty significant. And then NSK is highlighted there with Study Connection. This past year we surpassed 135 study buddies for our community. And we go to 2 different off-campus sites. We go to Armory with Needham Elementary students, and then we go to NSK with Northwood students. Just some outstanding things there. Next slide, please. One that also want to mention, we mentioned before, is our SRO program. Thanks to Chief O'Sullivan and at the time Mayor McGinnis' vision that safety needed to reign supreme at all times. They were willing to dedicate one officer to us. And he's here tonight. Sergeant Oliver is here. He could just give a brief snapshot of his day, but I can tell you that it's been very powerful in him getting to know kids and getting to opportunities. And so we want to definitely say that partnership has mattered and doing a great job. So any exciting tales and tribulations you can give us?
Recently, we've gotten partnership with Columbus PD. They have a couple of SROs that introduced the program called SAFE. It's situational awareness for every day, and it's geared towards the senior girls only at this time. We're going to try to expand it for Franklin, but just keeping them aware of their surroundings, getting them to be I guess, more situational aware when they go off to college, what to look for, things to watch out for, partying rules, things of that nature. And then towards the end of the program, we teach them how to kick a little butt. They get to do some defensive tactics, teach them how to handle themselves in one of those situations just in case something comes up. And they have to break away from somebody trying to attack them, abduct them, things of that nature. So that has got high remarks from every girl that's been in it, plus any educators that heard about it. They love the program as well.
Ellie, I think you did it right.
Yeah.
Ellie tweeted something about it, and I retweeted it to everybody, so it was a great.
Just one thing, I was holding the bag for her, and she is a strong little girl. She can really put the hurt on a punching bag.
When you have two brothers, you gotta take two down.
I'm a little scared.
Next slide, please. And then we talked, I talked to the realtors about our 10X grants to get highlights of what we're doing. The bottom picture actually are the two teachers from Northwood that went to Mexico for the Monarch Parliament. That's actually when they were in Mexico for that one. And then you can see the different experiences, and it's great because I get to go around and help announce the winner. And so you can see the smiles and joy in your celebration there. Next slide, please. Google Summit. We're the only host in Indiana, and I will tell you that I don't need to really say a lot more because I think we're probably one of the best in the nation. They love to come back here, and the speakers want to come here. When you talk to the keynotes, they hear about Franklin. They want to come to Franklin and be a part of our journey. So, next slide. And then last, I just say all the partnerships that make our school rich and wonderful. So as I was talking to the realtors, I'm just highlighting that, you know, you can tell your clients you can come here and be safe, have a great place to learn and grow, and have an awesome downtown to experience after school hours. That was my board presentation. In front of you, you also have another promotional product that we are delivering. We're going to have our own real estate meeting at lunch in May. We're going to talk to some local realtors. We're giving those brochures away to highlight our school district. You'll notice we have some people in there with quotes about our district. That have some jobs that would be exciting, I think, for people to see that look like they live here and that they went to school here. With that, I'm going to pass it off to hear a little bit about road improvement. You've heard about two projects earlier from the city side. We're going to talk a little about those projects from the school side as well.
Thank you, Dr. Clendening, and thank you, Mr. Fox, and everyone for continuing to work together, not just tonight, but every day. It's a great community to live and work in, so we appreciate your involvement. This first slide, obviously, these are the two improvements you've already heard from Mark on this. But just how does it impact the school? So I just wanted to highlight a couple things. I put question marks out there for the dates and closures and things. We'll continue to work with the city on those and how that may or may not impact the school from a timing standpoint. Obviously, between the two governmental agencies here tonight, you'll have to work out the details of the right of way if that were to happen, as it were. But probably the main thing I'd like to talk about in the next slide would be something that we see every morning and afternoon. And it happens for about an hour in the morning at arrival for Needham Elementary and at dismissal. What I've done here is, you can see in the red, that's actually just a snapshot from Beacon. If you can see there, the red line, I think that's about 100 or 875 feet between the road that connects, or that comes off Eastview to the south, that goes into the entrance of Webb Elementary, and then connects to the north at Needham Elementary, that access point. What happens in the morning at Needham, and I don't, maybe you've all been out there and see it. I see some smiling faces. It's probably not so funny in the morning, but you'll notice that a lot of car rider traffic for Needham Elementary, dropping the kids off and then picking them up in the afternoon. We've had some accidents there. We've talked to the chief. Everybody's been real responsive and doing the best we can with the circumstances, but we just have a lot of car riders. And it's not just Edina, if you've been to Creekside or Northwood, we see all this. But we just don't know what's gonna happen to the car rider issue once the roundabout may be built. So, it's possible that this idea came about, you see this red line there, that 875 feet. The idea would be to put in a frontage road there. Would be obviously maintained by the school corporation, and it would not be a city street, but that would be an idea, if we can somehow work together on this issue, to eliminate the car rider traffic from Eastview, because we know this is actually, the vision is this would be the truck route, no longer going downtown. We want the roundabout there to not stop traffic. We want all the traffic to flow. Although that hour in the morning and an hour in the afternoon may impede that. So that's an idea thrown out there. If you have any thoughts on that, if you don't tonight, that's fine. But if you do in the future, let us know. I'm sure Mark and I will continue to work on this as it gets closer to construction. But I talked to Mark about what's a cost estimate for that 875 feet. I know he's had some experience in the past up at Clark Pleasant, I believe, maybe in Greenwood schools, have done some things like that. I had a cost opinion from our group that handles our parking lot repairs and whatnot, and they're calling it between $125,000 and $150,000 just to put basically a 2-lane asphalt drive there. Mark is suggesting, well, when you add curbs and lighting and things like that, it could go upwards to $500,000. So it's a big range, but the more you put out there, obviously, the higher the cost goes. So just depends on what we want it to be, and if that would come to fruition there. But it would really, we believe it would really help with the issue out there. So that's one. I don't know if you have any comments or questions from either side on that. That's the idea. Anybody has anything? We can go to the next slide. The other project that impacts the school, you heard Mount Mallory Parkway. We're probably from the school side, the biggest, aside from the roads, if you see that there's a tree that would come out, and that is where the water connection and the fire connection would be as you come off of 31 at the middle school, the light at Mallory Parkway. Those two things would have to be moved. Obviously, the tree would come out, we would replant, I said this is a city project, it's their grant. We would work with them on it. It's a shared cost, it's a 90-10, 90% funding grant, funding, and then 10% local. We agreed, prior to the new administration coming in, we agreed to split that 10% between the two agencies. And so our part is 5% of that $750,000 estimate that you were talking about. So, but that's probably the most impactful on us, is getting that fire protection and that main water supply to the middle school moved prior to the actual road work. So that's really where our impact comes from. So that happens, I believe 2019, Mark, it was the funding.
Good wedding is next year.
Okay. And then so construction would be in 2019, probably, could be even sooner. So 2 projects coming up quickly. Just wanted to touch base on those. Any questions? Good.
Bill, just weighing in, as an individual has done the kid route at Needham, that is an issue.
Yeah.
Big time. I'll probably be doing it. I got another one starting kindergarten, not mine.
Yeah, and I've heard from other community members, as well, phone calls, and we know there's a problem there. We've looked at other ways of getting the traffic off of those 2 roads there, Eastview and Upper Shelbyville, but with our buses coming in there and around the circle, right now there's just no great way to get it done. And because really we want to have the buses separate from our cars. We need to keep those 2 separate, because we can't have, and we've seen tragic accidents with students walking through the bus lane, and we've much as what they're doing. So we just can't, we don't want to put those, go in. So we got to keep it separate somehow. Appreciate that, yeah.
Bill, just one comment relative to their middle school. I certainly think it would be wise counsel to have constructability review, and as you look at schedule development, you know, you said you could be earlier than that. It seems to me ideal to make sure that work is done. The majority of the impactful work is done when school's not in session.
I agree.
So that would probably preclude 2018 construction. I would ask that you make sure you do a thorough schedule review with certainly the Northwood and Mrs. Sargent and Mr. Ramos.
Yeah, appreciate that. We will absolutely do that. Sure. Yeah.
So would you still be, with this construction at Needham, would you still have, you would still have the entrance, from Upper Shelbyville Road, or
Well,
are you gonna try and bring everything in through one entrance?
My suggestion, and obviously I'm not an engineer, so we would want some professional eyes on this. I would suggest doing away with that entrance off of Eastview on Antonita and just use that if we were to build that new one. Or if you don't eliminate it, maybe gate it and only allow it to be used at certain times of the day. Be one of those two.
So have we gotten input from the folks at Needham into this, where are we in the process?
And not, this was,
So this, all this is very preliminary.
Very preliminary, and yeah, it's, the idea is out there conceptually. So, yeah.
So that's all you have to do.
Right, absolutely. And I'll tell you, another impact that we have, and it may seem minor, but to us tonight, it's probably a big deal to some out there, is the sign, the old Needham School sign. Where would we want it to be relocated? The roundabout is in the cost for that relocation of that Needham sign that's there on the hill. The old, the brick sign. And so that would need to be relocated where we want it to go. And we still want to recognize that tradition there. We have that to think about. So we'll take all this over to the folks who do Mr. Burley and his staff, and we'll start getting input from them. All right, thank you.
Okay, so at this point, we'll start drawing to some closure, and we're gonna do a little bit of a comment section here. And I guess first off, I open it up to anybody out there, public. Any comments, questions? Okay. Being none. School board. Council?
I just appreciate what the board's doing and the vision of the school system. Dr. Clint Denning, I appreciate the presentation and the teachers and aides, really, really nice.
I have a couple of just quick ones, just updates on a couple of little things that Mayor wanted me to just do a quick overview. One of them is, as our buildings, and continue to, get some age on them. So one of the things that we are looking at currently right now is we've had a group come in to look at our facilities management, which would include our HVAC systems, our lighting. But we're in the process of looking at that process, of maybe putting something in place to do updates, be a conservancy thing, but also just something that as we're going down the road here, we know we're facing some costs. We've got one right now that the rec center that looks like it's going to be a substantial cost, and we know as we move forward, we've got to address those items. So just that's an ongoing project. We're continuing to look at that and what we do with that. Second thing is that one of the things that we're doing right now, we're in the process of, and we've had a couple of meetings, is we formed a salary review committee for the city, and it's made up of a couple of council members. Jeff Mercer is actually on that, Mr. Jones, And our department heads are weighing in on this very heavily. And we've had a couple of meetings and we've accomplished a lot. I think at the end of the day, what we're going to figure out is where we fit in with the city from our salary side of it. We also are looking at all of our job descriptions and doing a complete review of those. And we hope to put a process in place where we can equitably do performance reviews and salaries and just something that hasn't been done in a while. So that's ongoing as well. Anything else?
I'm just gonna comment, it's just been great to see it all come together over the past 3 years.
That I'll ask for adjournment.
So move.
Second.
All those in favor? Aye. Thank you, everyone.